Today's video is sponsored by W. Thank you to W for sponsoring today's video. As usual, use my code in link description below, which you get at least 10% off. And again, thanks to W for sponsoring today's video. As always. Greetings, my Dragonite Dragonborn Duncan. This is Dragonite Dragonborn Duncan. I think you get the memo. And as always, if you like what you saw, don't forget to burn that like button, get the subscribe button to join the family. Dragonite Dragonborn Duncan. Like, comment, share, definitely ring that bell, and also join the Discord, which is as always linked in the description below. And welcome to my Ratchet 1 HD review. Now, I already have done and beat this game on a stream like way back then. At some time, and I have done a let's play of this, but then sold my PS3 because, well, I just needed the money at the time. But I'll definitely try to get that. But now, for my own opinion on this game, in my personal opinion, it is a little bit more rough on the edges, shall we say. And of course, this was at the first time of how they were kind of doing. And of course, you know, the first games are usually very rough behind the edges, but once you hang in there, you'll definitely is pretty good. And in my personal opinion, I think this is definitely a good game. And for those who actually will really want to at least hear my opinion on this game, I give it about, to be fair, how rough it is, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Alright, I think for those who actually stuck around, yes, Ratchet & Clank 1 basically was originally on the PS2 era. But if you have a PS3, I think we all know about the Ratchet & Clank the HD collection, which includes Ratchet & Clank 1, Ratchet & Clank 2, and Ratchet & Clank 3, which is Ratchet & Clank, Ratchet & Clank 2 Going Commando, and Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal. So yeah. And of course, the very beginning game, at least the very first game, did start out with how Ratchet & Clank started their series and how much Chairman Drek has started his own plans, shall we say, to things get moving, shall we say. And we kind of find out a little bit plot twists here and there as well. And I do apologize about my editing right now. I am using DaVinci Resolve 19, so forgive me about my rough edits here and there. I have been kind of like playing out how I like this, but anyways. And of course, this is like their very start, and how much Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart kind of, I won't say like overseas it or like, you know, did it. It was like a little bit nice, humble beginnings of Ratchet & Clank. And I already mentioned, like, hey, yeah, this is kind of how it is, but kind of not. And of course, I'll definitely do my review of that. So, in my personal opinion, I think, in my humble opinion, I think you're going to definitely like the game myself, and how it is, just for at least a good start. But I think most probably start with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is still a fun game itself. And of course, when I actually did my let's play, yeah, I do apologize how bad. I'll definitely leave that in the description below, but I would definitely say how bad the first audio was, because I wasn't really thinking how bad my audio was at the time, so forgive me. But later down the series, it did work over, so. But anyways, Ratchet & Clank 1, in my opinion, is definitely the start, and how the controls is, it's fine to say the least, but there has been some gripes and complaints about those who actually played this game, which is sometimes if you had to switch up the controls, it's like kind of half backwards. And they're probably at the time, of course, this was right around the PS2 era, even though this is like more of a PS3 now, but since it is an HD. But my only comments about that, if it's an HD, but I do get why too, because at least in my personal opinion too, is that they did want to keep at least more faithful to the original, and as much of like HDs or remasters that's basically happened, through this series as much. That's just me, but there has been, like, in my opinion, like, the controls that I think you have to configure yourself, but every time, like, you had to pause, then you had to redo it again just to do that. I wish they, like, oh, hey, I get it if it was, like, the PS2 era, it was its own niche, because that's how Ratchet and Clank started. And yes, this is the exact same company, Insomniac, that did Spyro. You're welcome. But I think Spyro was like the original, was their baby, but then they kind of move on to a little bit more better pastures with Ratchet and Clank. And of course, I think modern games will know Insomniac with most Marvel Spider-Man, for example, and some other games, here and there. But most of all, at least in the retro, probably will understand where Insomniac games has started. But yeah, anyways, I did wish that they did fix a little bit more stuff, in the HD. It's like, okay, I get it, but you don't have to constantly, like, have to keep changing things up with, like, oh, hey, I had to go into this problems menu. Oh, okay, I had to go back into this other one. But then, like, it keeps redoing that, The gold bolts in this game is a little tricky. I did platinum all 3 games thanks to a friend, because I figured, in my opinion, I want to platinum most of the games of Ratchet and Clank that I have, which I do have the HD collection, which is already done. I know I got some other ones. And it's just the gripes about my complaint about it. It's just the skill points. I just wished, if it was, in my personal opinion, I just wish they did a little bit more better take about the trophies, like at least when it comes to skill points. It was just annoying as hell. At least in the first game, and I know at least the second game it's still harder. The third game I'm not positive. Like I said, I actually got a friend that helped me just to platinum the game. And some of them, it's like, at least the trophies, like, like get all skills, get all gold weapons. I wish at least some degree, I wish in something I did bring it back, but I know, at least in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, they did bring at least something like that back. But it felt like there just to be there, But, and I know I'm probably just like a boomer here, but I just wish it was like something to reward you, like this game. If you get all gold bolts, and you can trade them in, and once you jump into New Game Plus, you will definitely get all the gold weapons, which will equal out a trophy to get. Now, of course, there is like a way you can get just like the regular gold weapons in this game, but it is tricky, but it doesn't give you allow all the weapons. And of course, in Ratchet and Clank 2, they kind of switch up the formula, and I think that's where it took off by the leveling system, which I'll definitely do my own Ratchet and Clank 2 sometime, because I am planning to do that review sometime later. Now, I did try to continue on with that, but then stopped, so I do apologize. And of course, that's when I was actually streaming on Kick too, but anyways, off topic again, sorry. But in my personal opinion, I think you will still like this game, even though with its clunky controls. And the only other side of the coin is about it too. Halfway to the game as well, you'll see like Ratchet and Clank. I'm sorry, I can't really, pronounce, Clank's original name, but he just goes by Clank, thanks to Ratchet. But anyways, in my personal opinion, I think this was at least a good start. But the halfway point of Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet and Clank were just like arguing like an old couple at that point. At first, I thought, okay, it's kind of funny, but at a certain point, it's like, alright, you two, just make up, alright? And luckily, over time, Ratchet does grow, grow in character development, which is actually really good in my personal opinion. And how much I can definitely say in my personal opinion, they saw more growth of Ratchet and Clank in here, and well, just in Ratchet, and kind of continue that trend a little bit more, which is actually really nice. And of course, the other one that I got to mention here as well for myself is the puzzles or the Trespasser, which is basically like kind of these laser games. I'm not good at hacking. I'll admit that. I will never ever be good at hacking. That's just me, and I know that's just my personal opinion there. But it's still fine, and I know how much they were like, okay, let's just keep it for at least for those who are still easy. And I know, at least from what my knowledge is, that they did want to make it hard, but they didn't. But they had a lot of troubles here and there as well too. That, at least in my personal opinion, not in my personal opinion. Sorry. As most, that they had to dub it down for those who are just starting. It's kind of like giving you like at least like a kid's level, because after a lot of accessories here and there, it was just like, okay, now you got to dub down at least the puzzles, because they don't want to discriminate, players, who play this game would most likely start up very frustrated, shall we say. And I can definitely see that too, in my personal opinion. And if you're really good at hacking, you could probably like easily knock this out a little bit more faster than me. And of course, most of the time when I was actually doing this, it was like, okay, yeah. And also, this is where how, the Rhino started, or Raptor, yeah, a new one. Which is basically, I'm going to end up playing right about now.
This thing is heavy! Yeah, try carrying it around in your trench coat for 2 months.
Thank you, sir. We'll be sure to tell everyone about your services.
Listen, you little twerp. If you tell anyone what you saw or what we talked about...
Do I even have to say it?
Used to have it.
So yeah, that is Raptor, ya new one, or aka Rip, ya new one. And it is very expensive. I think it's just really shown how it is really expensive in general. But in my opinion, I think it's very worth it. Now, of course, you can definitely do like a little glitch that you can definitely do in this game just to basically get at least 1,000,000 bolts, and I think that's what most players did. Yes, it was originally in PS2, but it also does in PS3, which is in the HD collection again. So yeah, and once you get it, I think most players will freaking Raptor Drek. Even just without the Rhino 2, as from what I've been seeing, what I felt with Chairman Drek, that he felt way bit hard. And I don't know if Insomniac devs had to, rework a bit, some stuff here and there. Again, I don't know, but maybe they were trying to plan it, or just like kept it as like a really hard boss, because any other weapons, you had to at least make a little strategy. But if you get the Rhino, aka Raptor, yeah, new one, he will go down in a breeze. That thing is just a legend. And of course, and I know they have most likely improved a lot more other stuff here and there among the series of each different Rhino. Since it was like one of Ratchet and Clank's iconic legendary weapons, they always try to make it more unique in every single game. And although, to be fair, the Ripped Apart one was not as hard to get, But what's so really cool, how they, in my opinion, I forget to mention this, you know, made it a little bit more easy with a little bit backlore, but still, you had to collect all of them. But anyways, I believe if you get this, you definitely end up doing it. And of course, I did show how to get the weapon and how to do a glitch just to get 1,000,000 bolts, which you definitely need just to get the trophy, which is a 1,000,000 bolts. Except for keep grinding, I think, if I remember correctly, it would take up to 5, maybe 6 playthroughs at most just to get the Rhino. But I figured just go ahead and do the glitch now. I'll definitely leave a link in the description below for that video of how to get 1,000,000 bolts. And that's how I kind of did it. So, anyways, by the way, here is a Discord shameless or shameful plugin right about now. Alright, a little bit of a shameless or whatever plugin for the video, for at least, you know, as you're probably watching. Just let you all know I have a Discord. Check it out in the link description below. Definitely, hopefully you can at least come on, help and grow the community over there, which I'll be very grateful as usual. And that way you can help grow the Discord. So thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the video. Plus, there is like how they did in this game as well, like how the, you know, your save, which back then we had memory cards, but at least now in the digital age, you can always save. Now, you get a employee discount by just, you know, basically what it means, wherever that you have your Ratchet and Clank 1 save file on your PS3, that will be transferred over to Ratchet and Clank 2. And I'll definitely get into that for another time, but it just says, you know, how long. Basically, it's like a little Easter egg of how long that, you know, Insomniac decided to work on Ratchet and Clank 2. So it was like a little bit really cool, but they like, okay, let's just have this in here. So anyways, just by the controls and how much the story is, Ratchet and Clank 1 is definitely very, in my opinion, very mostly hard. But not like too hard, but also very rough on the edges. But I think you could definitely, at most, definitely have a good time with this first game. Either by emulating it or get a PS3, buy the game, however way you go, I think it'd be better. And I don't know or if Sony and someone will allow it to have an actual full remaster of the Ratchet and Clank series, at least 1, 2, and 3, but they probably won't. Or at least have like, you know, like cloud save on the PS4 and PS5, like how you did for like the premium. Y'all have to let me know how, you know, if it is there, mostly. So, and about that little bit plot twist, I think it's just, it kind of shows and how much Clank's naive is. I get it, you know, it's like, kind of like that, you know, like a child that's just meeting their first hero, so. But anyways, I know that's kind of like that little rift between them and how it starts, so. But anyways, I personally think you will definitely like this game, in my personal opinion. This, again, just me. I still like it, but as always, I'll definitely give Ratchet and Clank my dragon rating of honor it. And for the graphics of this game, I think it still holds up a little bit more, and it kind of aged a little bit like basically a fine wine, at least some degree, but also kind of like a little bit aged up. But the controls age like a little bit, you know, soiled milk. Basically, what I'm trying to say is. But I think, in my personal opinion, I think you will definitely enjoy this game. And in my personal opinion, I think you would, may or may not, depending on your idea of it. But just, I guess, really up to you. because like the skill points and the gold bolts is a little bit tricky, but that's the way they did it. But I think it's still worth, at least in my personal opinion, just to casual complete it. It's just those skill points and just the skill points are really annoying to get. A lot harder than the skill point, than, than the gold bolts in my personal opinion. The gold bolts is a little bit more easier to attain, but in my personal opinion, I think those skill points are just so annoying to get. So that's why I tend to give it at least an 8 out of 10, or basically casual complete it. So as always, my Dragon Knights, Dragonborns, Dragon and Dragon Hatchlings alike. If you like this video, don't forget to burn the like button, and the subscribe button to join the family Dragon Knights, Dragonborns, Dragon alike. Comment, share, and definitely ring that bell. As always, this is Dragon Knight, Dragonborn, Dragon's Age, signing out. Hopefully you, in my personal opinion, I hope that you at least enjoyed, the review I have gave, and I apologize for holding out at least for these reviews. I've been focused on other stuff. So, as always, farewell for now, my Dragon Knights, Dragonborns, Dragon alike.